Hi, I'm Christy Creffer, and I am going to show you how to model an algebra equation using algebra tiles. Okay, so before we get started, I kind of want to talk about a few things just so that we can clarify so we understand a little bit. This is an algebra equation, and the way that we know that this is an equation versus an expression is it has an equal sign. And so in this, we know that we can actually solve this, bring it all the way down to solve it, versus just simplifying it like we can do with an expression. One other thing that we need to remember with an equation is that it always needs to be balanced. And so that's kind of why I have my balance scale here, is so that we can remember that we want to keep it balanced. So some of the rules that we need to remember when we're working with equations is if we're going to add or subtract anything, we have to add it to both sides or we have to take it away from both sides. So if we're going to add 3, we have to add 3 here and we have to add 3 here, and vice versa with subtraction. We can also do that with multiplication and division. We won't get into that in this problem, but we could do that if it was necessary. A couple other things is that we can take away 0 pairs as long as they sit on the same side of our balance scale. If there's a 0 pair that, like, there's a negative here and a positive here, we can't cross over, but we can do it on the same side. The other thing is with an equation is that we're always welcome to look at the flip side of it. So it's kind of like we could look underneath our scale per se and see the reverse. So we can always flip it. Another thing is when we're working with algebra tiles and algebra equations and expressions, it's helpful if we use different variables. So in this situation, I've written out my problem and n is my variable instead of x. So my tiles, this will represent 1n instead of 1x. So I'm going to go ahead and build this side of our equation and then put it on the balance beam and then build this side. So I'm going to do it 2 different ways to kind of show that. So the first time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I want 2 groups of n minus 4, 3n minus 4. So I'm going to go 2 groups of 3n minus 4. I'm going to model that here. But we have our little negative sign up there, so I actually want the opposite. That negative sign means the opposite of 2 groups of 3n minus 4. So I'm going to go ahead and flip these all over. So we want the opposite of that. And I'm going to put that up here on this side. So this is on this side of our balance scale. And that's what this side of our equation would look like if we work that out. Okay. Then on our other side, we're going to have 1n plus, and now we want 2 groups of 1. 2 groups of 1. So there's our 2 groups of 1 minus 3n. So we're going to have 3n. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is our other side of our balance beam. Now looking at this, we can say, okay, we have a 0 pair here. So we're going to take this and take that off. Now we want to get down so that we have n's on one side and our units on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some 0 pairs here. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 n's on this side. If I add 5 n's on this side, I have to add 5 n's on this side. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now I can take out my 0 pairs on this side, and I can take out my 0 pairs on this side. So I'm left with 2 over here, 2 units, 1 negative n, and 8 units here. was missing one there. Okay, so then I'm gonna take away my 8 units here. Take away my 8 units there. I have to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, and then I can take away my 0 pairs here. And then I have 2 here, which match up with my 0 pairs here. So right now I have negative n is equal to a negative 6. And because of our rules of algebraic equations, we know that we can just look at the flip side of this. So we actually have 1n is equal to 6. Okay, so another way that we could solve this equation is instead of the first part where we did, we could say we actually want a 0 here. So we're first gonna build our 0 here. Three n's, and then -4. We have to make sure we have that way. Okay, so if we said what we really want to do is take away from 0 2 groups of 3n minus 4. So we're going to take away 2 groups of 3n minus 4. And this is what we're left with on our balance beam. Our balance scale, sorry. Make sure we have eight that time. Okay, and then on the other side again, we're gonna build our 1, and then our 2 groups of 1 and n minus 3. Minus 3 n's. Okay, and then again, we can take away our 0 pair. This time, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add to this side. So we're gonna actually add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're gonna add 6 to this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to this side. And so this cancels out our 0 pairs over here. And if we take out our 0 pairs over here, we're left with 1. Then we're gonna take away our 2 here. And we're gonna take away 2 over here to keep our balance here. So that's gonna take away these 0 pairs. And this is gonna take away our 2. And so then we can see that we're left with 1n equals 6.